Hey, what's going on YouTube? Today I'm here to show you my beginner Magicka Necromancer or Magcro build for the Deadlands DLC patch. As a part of the beginner setup series, I'll be focusing on a starting rotation and gear that are easily accessible. For the sake of this theme and to be as new player friendly as possible, I'll be avoiding mythics, arena weapons, trial, or dungeon gear. Furthermore, the rotation for many classes will be simplified. This build is capable of pulling over 74k on the parts dummy and is viable for most starting content. The build specializes in normal group content, such as normal trials, dungeons, and group arenas. This build works great in Overland, but is not specifically designed for it. So moving on with the build. Starting off in the character sheet, I have 64 points into Magicka, and I am running the Thief Mundus. For the race, I am a High Elf. Other alternatives include Dark Elf, Khajiit, and possibly even Breton. But because this is a beginner build, any race can be viable. Moving on to food. So for any hard content, if you can afford it, I definitely recommend running Clockwork Citrus Fillet. A cheaper and almost just as good alternative would be Witch Mother's Potent Brew. This is what I recommend you run for majority of content. And last, if you need more sustain or you're parsing, Ghastly Eyeball is always the go-to. Moving on to potions. So for the majority of content, you should be fine just using Essence of Magicka. Because this build double bars Inner Light paired with Degeneration, you have access to Major Sorcery and Major Prophecy, which are the buffs you get from spell power pots. You don't need to run spell power pots. If you do change this build though, I definitely recommend running spell power potions. Furthermore, if you do choose to run spell power potions, I definitely recommend using medicinal use from the alchemy skill line. Put points into that to make sure you get the full duration of your potion effects. So for CP for the blue tree, we're going to be running Fighting Finesse, Master at Arms, Biting Aura, and Backstabber. For the red tree, we're going to be running Boundless Vitality, Fortified, Rejuvenation, and Siphoning Spells. So for the gear, we're going to be running Juliano's Daggers. Our main hand is going to be Nirnhoned with a poison damage enchant. Our offhand is charged with a flame damage enchant. And on the back bar, we're going to be running an Inferno Staff with weapon damage enchant, and it's going to be infused. For gear, we're going to be running 2 pieces of Hunning's Rage in light, both with max mag enchants traded in divines. We're going to be running 5 pieces of New Moon Acolyte on the body, all light, max mag traded in divines. And for jewelry, we're going to be running 3 pieces of Juliano's Jewelry, all traded in Bloodthirsty with spell damage enchants. So for skills, we're going to be running Stalking Blastbones, Unnerving Boneyard, Scalding Rune, Inner Light, Detonating Siphon, and Flawless Dawnbreaker on our front bar, Mystic Orb, Unstable Wall of Fire, Barbed Trap, Skeletal Arcanist, Inner Light, and Ice Comet. So for the rotation, we're going to be starting off with a Blast Bones into Boneyard, into Degeneration, into a Detonating Siphon, Blast Bones, Unstable Wall of Fire, Mystic Orb, Blast Bones, Skeletal Arcanist, Barbed Trap, and then just drop your ultimate whenever it's ready. So just to clarify, it's gonna be Blast Bones 3 skills, Blast Bones 2 skills, Blast Bones 2 skills. Other than the first part of the rotation, the second part is gonna require bar swap after the Blast Bones, and that should be it. Closing thoughts, and as per usual, rambling section. First off, you can run a staff instead of daggers if that suits your playstyle better. Also, if you want to run a more consistent rotation where you don't refresh your Arcanist and Trap, I suggest replacing the bottom line, just the very last 2 skills of Arcanist and Trap for Scalding, and then just alternate between Arcanist and Trap. If you do that, your Trap and Arcanist won't be refreshed at like 7 or 8 seconds left, resulting in a higher DPS. Another thing you can do is you can swap out Unnerving for Avid Boneyard and then proc the Synergy for additional DPS. But I didn't want to incorporate that into a rotation of a beginner guide because I felt like that was just too overwhelming. But it is there, so if you want to use it, go for it. As far as gear progression goes, I definitely recommend swapping out New Moon Acolyte as soon as possible. I recommend Mother Sorrow because it is easy to get. and you could just farm it in Deshaun. It's an overland set. For the front bar, what I mean by that is jewelry and weapons. There's a couple sets you can run. Number 1 would probably go to Kinra. It's from Black Drake Villa, which is a DLC dungeon. You can also get Pillar of Nirn, and then you can either go for a monster helm or a one-piece slime crawl plus mythic. If you're going the monster helm route, a couple monster helms that come to mind would be Maul of the Inferno, Karnar, and Stormfist. If you're going the mythic route with a one-piece slime crawl, then Harpooners or Death Dealer with a one-piece slime crawl would probably be a good bet. For content, you can take off Inner Light and slot whatever you need. Some good skills would probably be like Spirit Mender, Harness Magicka, and also for ultimates, obviously you can drop Meteor and you can pick up something like Colossus, because Colossus is OP and it really helps out in group content. You can also settle for Destro ult, and if you do need to run 2 ults, just drop Dawnbreaker because it's only there for the passive, and then you should have 2 ults ready to go. Personally, I think Necros are a little clunky. Sometimes the siphons can kind of get whack, and Boneyard also has this weird like thing where it can glitch out. I don't know, maybe it's just on my end, but that's that. So that wraps up the build explanation section of this portion. As always, thank you for watching my video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. As a reminder, if this video helped in any way, please consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel a lot. Also, if you like the piggy, hit that like button. Feel free to stick around for an attached parse as usual at the end. If not, have a great day and thank you again.